name is Abdel Zellou. Bonjour, salam alaikum. Today I'm going to make for you 4 lovely, crunchy French baguettes like this one. So I'd like to thank Pathwin Elementary for nudging me into making this great online cooking class on how to make French baguettes. I grew up eating Moroccan bread, fresh Moroccan bread, almost on a daily basis, and I thank my mom for that. Moroccan bread is a soft, round bread. So you're going to ask me what got me from eating Moroccan bread to French baguette. Well, it's very simple. We were watching Paul Hollywood on the British baking show, and my wife told me once, why don't you make French baguette the way they're making it on the show? So I got started about, I would say, a year and a half ago on doing that, and have been improving on, and that got me to that point. So with that being said, how are we going to make French baguette? What ingredients do you need? The basic ingredients that you need are, so to make 4 French baguettes, so you'll need 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1, 2, I can also count in French, 3, or in Arabic, 4. So this is 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I also like to add whole wheat flour to make my baguette. So I have 2 cups of whole wheat flour right here. We'll need also salt, so about 2 teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. We also need dry yeast, so I have 2 teaspoons of dry yeast and 1 teaspoon of sugar, so I'm going to mix that together right here. And we need about 3 cups of lukewarm water. So I'm going to mix the dry yeast with the sugar and add some water and mix it. And we're going to let it rest for about 5-10 minutes as we walk through the other optional ingredients. So we have, I've added a little bit of water, as you can see, just to mix the dry yeast and the sugar, and we're going to let it rest for about 5-10 minutes while we go over the other ingredients. So in the baguette, in the Moroccan bread that my mom used to make, she used to put all kinds of seeds. So what we have here is about 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds, about 2 tablespoons of flax seeds, and also have I don't know, about 3 tablespoons of sunflower seeds. I also like to put poppy seeds, fennel seeds, pumpkin seeds, any kind of seeds that you like. You can give it a try and add it to the mixture. So I'm going to be adding these seeds in the bowl. I also have an extra bowl with a mixture of all-purpose flour and whole wheat flour that we'll be using to make the baguette once the dough is made. So I think that's all the ingredients. So all the ingredients are in the stand mixer. Now let me tell you a little bit about the hardware I like to use to make my bread. So So I like to use a wire whisk to mix everything. That looks nice, right? So we're going to mix everything here. Okay, so this is mixed. Now let me tell you what else we did from on the hardware side. So we'll need a razor. I'll use that to score the bread, and I'll show you a trick that I have to score the bread this way, almost like what you see in a French bakery. We'll need a scraper and a spatula. The scraper will use that to basically cut the dough. Another spatula that I use to help me with the dough in the stand mixer. A knife. I use KitchenAid as my stand mixer, and this is the attachment to it. What else? The tray. So the tray that I use is so this is a big tray with parchment paper. And now let me tell you the trick to make your baguette nice and crunchy. So I'm going to turn to the oven, and I'll show you how I make steam in the oven. So the trick to make crunchy baguettes is to have some steam. So I put in the bottom rack of the oven a tray full of water, and that will basically create that steam. So with all that being said, now we can turn back to our yeast and that we're going to mix with the dry ingredients. I'll put it right here. Some more water to in the bowl and make sure I have all the yeast from there. And now we're going to start mixing the dry ingredients. So I'm going to start mixing these ingredients with lukewarm water. First I'm going to start on one. So you want to be adding the water in a fairly regular manner. So you don't want to be adding it too fast or too slow, because you want to make sure you want to mix the flour quite well. So I start first on one, then I go on two, and I keep on mixing it. And I told you earlier, you need about 3 cups of lukewarm water to make your bread. I actually had about 4 cups here, and so we may use all of it when you think about the water that we put with the dry yeast and the water that we're going to use to mix the flour. So you'll need about between 3-4 cups of water. So it's still mixing. So you want to be mixing it for about 15 minutes. So we're going to cut the video now, and then we'll get back to it once it's been turning for about 15 minutes. Okay, so we're back. So the dough has been mixing for the past maybe 5 minutes or so. So you can look at it and look at the texture. So basically the gluten is getting all tied together to make the dough. Now with the stand mixer, it won't be able to mix the dough really well together. You'll have some dry flour in the bottom. So what I want to do is show you how I mix basically the dough really well together to prevent from having some dry flour in the bottom. So actually go ahead and remove the attachment here, and I'm going to basically, so you see how you have still some dry flour in the bottom. So I'm going to add some water in here. So the rest of the water that I had, so I had about 4 cups of water total, about 4 cups. And I'm going to mix it really well together. That's why I needed a knife to basically scrape all the dough from here. And we put that back in there and mix it again for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we're back. The dough has been mixing in the stand mixer for a total of about 15 minutes, and we used a total of about 4 cups of lukewarm water. Now we're ready to stop the stand mixer, and I'll show you the consistency of the dough. So before I put the dough in a bowl, I'm going to add some flour on the bowl to prevent the dough from sticking on the bowl. So I spread it all over like this, and take the dough from the stand mixer. By the way, this is my first cooking video. I'm not used to doing this. We're actually supposed to have a cooking class with some families from my kids' elementary school, but because of COVID, I'm doing this online. Anyways, so you can see the mixture of the dough. And so we're going to put some flour on top of the dough as well. Like this. And we're going to use a dry. I'm going to let it proof for about 45 minutes to an hour in the dry area. So I'll just put the side of the kitchen here and let it rest for 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll see you back in 45 minutes. And also, before we go to the next scene, in about half an hour, start preheating your oven at 500 degrees, fan bake. See you shortly. Hello, so we're back. The dough has been proving for the past 45 minutes. We're preheating the oven on 500 degrees on speed bake on fan, and we have our dough right here. So I'm going to show you. So it rose excuse me, quite a bit, and we're going to get our dough ready. So over the past 45 minutes, I took advantage to clean a little bit the kitchen and remove some of this. We'll put some flour on our workstation, or whatever you want to call it here. And I'm going to put the lovely baguettes that I've made this morning aside. Take my baking tray here and put the dough on the table. So because we put flour on the bowl, the dough is not sticking much. So I like to be generous with the flour on the dough. Use the scraper and make about 4 baguettes. So we'll see how it goes here. So this is, I would say, maybe one of the trickiest part of making a baguette. I like not to transform the bread as much as possible. I like to leave it raw and not knead it much. So I'm going to make about 4 baguettes. Try to make a very clean cut, and then I take the dough and put it on the tray. That's 1 baguette. Flour, put it on the bowl, and we're going to repeat it for the second one. Kids are watching, loving this. By the way, they love French baguettes in the morning. The smell of fresh bread in the house, there's nothing better than that. Right, Mia? And again, this is making bread, like any baking, should be a learning process and enjoyable. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. It's okay. That's how you learn. I try to make my bread as straight as possible, and then we have the last one. So now what we're going to do, once the bread is, your baguettes are ready, you can add a little bit of flour if you like. And now we're going to put it in the oven, and we're going to put a timer of 2 minutes, 2 minutes only. And the reason why you want to put a timer just for 2 minutes is because we're going to be scoring the bread after 2 minutes. So see you in 2 minutes. Okay, so it's beeping. I'm going to stop the beeper and make sure you're wearing a glove. And I'm going to open the oven, and I'm going to take the razor and score the bread with it. Make sure not to burn yourself. Okay? So you can see the bread rose a little bit, and I'm scoring it as deeply as possible. And now I'm going to put again the timer on 10 minutes. The reason why I do this is because after 10 minutes, I'm actually going to take the tray out and put the baguettes directly on the rack so they can get crunchy all over. See you in 10 minutes. Okay, so we're ready to basically take the bread out of the tray and put it directly on the rack so it gets all crunchy all over.
But I have a question for the last step that you did.
Sure, what is it?
What if you don't have a razor?
Oh, that's a good question. So if you don't have a razor, try to use a sharp knife instead.
Bye.
So be very careful, the tray is really, really hot. So now what I do is take the bread and I'm going to stick it directly on the rack. And I'm going to cook it for another about maybe 10-12 minutes. The bread look a little bit still doughy, so I'm going to cook it for another 12 minutes and check and make sure that it's nice and crunchy. So we'll see you guys in about 10-12 minutes. Okay, so we are 10 seconds away from taking the bread from the oven. It will be nice and crunchy. So I want to thank you for watching this video, and you can eat your baguettes with some salty butter or jam. Oh, it's very steamy, so be very careful. So here's the bread, nice brown, crunchy. Put it on the rack here. So you can see the scorch on the score on the baguette. I wish you could taste it. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you back.